Hey everyone, welcome back to Miniature Painting 101, a series of videos where I teach you all about painting miniatures from start to finish and everything in between. This is part 62, gold, specifically shiny gold. How to obtain very quick and a very shiny, luminescent gold appearance. So I was asked by one of the viewers, how do I produce a quick, very shiny gold appearance? So the first step is to prime black. Black is my favorite color to prime if I'm painting golds or any metallic in general. It produces the shiniest effect. And today we'll only be using three paints: BALTHASAR gold, GEHENNA'S gold, which is a reddish warm gold, and AURIC ARMOUR gold, which is a very bright yellow gold. You'll notice that I'm not using any shades or washes today. That's because they tend to dull down the appearance. And this is just produce a very quick, shiny appearance for gold. And for that, you actually don't need any shades. So I'll start off with BALTHASAR gold. BALTHASAR gold can be very thick, as many metallic paints can be. So I'm going to take some thinner medium. I'm going to add a few drops to this. That way we get a nice thin consistency, which will go on over the model, and that way it doesn't obscure any of the really nice details. And by the way, that model is Christina from the really cool range from Arcane Factories. It's a really cool model, so go check them out as well, arcanefactories.com. So that we've got our nice thin down BALTHASAR gold, and we're going to apply it to all the armor parts of the model, such as the face, the chest, all the legs, and just build up that really nice gold appearance. And as you can see, it actually goes on very nicely and nice and thin. It has a nice shine to it. Do not thin down your metal paints with water. This is one of those cases where water will really mess with your paints because metallic pigments are heavier than normal pigments, and they tend to sink to the bottom if you thin it down with water. So a medium, though, however, will allow it to suspend the particles of paint in a normal fashion, so they don't end up being very dull when you apply it to the model. And as I said, this is just to get this is actually how I really like to do my metallics. So I'm going for a very shiny appearance with still some contrast. If I'm going for an older, worn out appearance, I'll do that in a future tutorial, but it'll just involve using shades and layering. But what I find is the best way to accomplish a very shiny luminescent effect is to actually use dry brush methods. So I'm just going to take GEHENNA'S gold, add a little bit to my palette. In this particular case, I'm not going to thin it down because I will be using a dry brush. And I'm just going to apply a dry brush to the entire miniature with GEHENNA'S gold, which is this a warmer reddish gold, mid-tone gold. And what it's going to do is going to pick up on all the raised areas and really warm up the gold areas and produce a really nice luminescent shine. I find that dry brushing over metallics and with other metallics is the best way to produce a very nice bright shine to your gold. So I'm just going to take my brush and dry brush as always with very minimal pigments on my brush and just go over the entire miniature, picking up all the raised areas, leaving the recesses, the BALTHASAR gold. And then finally, I'm going to repeat this process with AURIC ARMOUR gold. But for the AURIC ARMOUR gold, I'm only going to focus at about a 45-degree angle, and I'm going to focus on the parts that my light source is hitting. So you'll see this. I'm going to aim it here at about a 45-degree angle with my brush, and look at the areas my light source is hitting, and then focus on those areas specifically with AURIC ARMOUR gold. I'm going to try to keep the model as vertically as possible so that I can keep a consistent direction of the AURIC ARMOUR gold. And I'm just going to dry brush once again, because as you see, it's a bit lighter of it's a bright yellowish gold. So I'm going to apply just the areas where my light source is hitting, so therefore I'm going to tell the story that the light source is coming from that direction, and just really highlight those areas, and that way we got a nice gradient. Now we got some BALTHASAR gold in the recesses and facing downwards. We got GEHENNA'S gold on the areas that are not going to be hit by the light source, and we have the nice yellow, bright AURIC ARMOUR gold at the very tops of these areas. And as you see now, we've got a beautiful contrast going, and it has a beautiful shine to it. It's a very shiny appearance. My light source is hitting it, but as you can see, it's a very shiny gold appearance. It doesn't look very worn out. It doesn't look very old. It looks very new, but that's essentially how you accomplish a really quick, very shiny gold with some contrast. And that's essentially it. So as you can see, it has some contrast, and it's really shiny. It doesn't look old, but I'm going to have to show in a future video how to do a little more aged gold appearance using a similar color scheme but with shades as well and layering instead of just dry brushing. And as I mentioned, this is Christina from Arcane Factories, and she's a perfect model for and perfect example for this, because the shades would actually just kind of overwhelm the model, and dry brushing alone will pick up on all the raised areas without overwhelming the model with the shades. So as always, thank you very much for watching this episode of Miniature Painting 101. I really hope you enjoyed it and perhaps learned a little bit. And stay tuned for part 63, which is just around the corner, next week as always. But if you don't want to wait for next week, check out The Warp. Click on the link for a free 14-day trial to my premium YouTube channel, where not only will you get to see the next 6 months worth of Miniature Painting 101 episodes, you'll get to see over 50 start-to-finish painting tutorials, tons of battle reports, airbrush tutorials, face-off episodes, some awesome wargaming content that I think you'll love. So thank you very much for watching. Until next time, this is Jay saying, happy painting, everyone.